Just as the government is prosecuting Manning, a fascinating thing happened just a couple of days ago. They wound up giving blanket immunity to the crimes that Manning exposed. So at least the people who committed those crimes. How do we know this? Well, there's actually a case. There's a Plaintiff Sundus Shaker Saleh, and they've actually went to court. It's in federal proceedings now, and they're saying that the actions of George W. Bush, Richard Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, and Paul Wolfowitz were a crime of aggression, and that they should be prosecuted accordingly. So that's an interesting case. We know in the U.S. that has very little chance of success because the powerful are above the law. And it doesn't matter if they authorize the crime of aggression, which, by the way, is the highest war crime. And the Iraq, and of course they're referring to the Iraq War, and the Iraq War would be a war of aggression if it was not sanctioned by the United Nations, not done as a self-defense action to prevent an imminent attack, etc. There are guidelines for it. The Iraq War clearly meets those guidelines, but we're going to hear no evil, see no evil, and it would be shocking if they won this case, even though they're 100% right. Now, of course, we can't have the president, the former president, former vice president, be declared war criminals. It would be embarrassing. Now, not only did they do that crime, of course, then they did the crimes of torture. Remember that we went after people who did waterboarding when it was done to our soldiers with the full extent of the law. We thought it was one of the worst crimes of torture that you could possibly do. Will we be prosecuting Dick Cheney, etc. for that? Of course not. Instead, the CIA agent John Kiriakou, who revealed it, doing a 30-month sentence. We prosecuted a whistleblower. In the case of the crimes in Iraq, who's the one who's got the prison sentence? It's, of course, Manning. He's got a 35-year prison sentence. So now what did the government do in the middle of that case for the Bushes and the Cheneys of the world? Well, they did what's called a Westfall Act certification. Let me explain what that is. And David Swanson wrote a great article about this. The Westfall Act certification, submitted pursuant to the Westfall Act of 1988, permits the Attorney General at his or her discretion to substitute the United States as the defendant and essentially grant absolute immunity to government employees for actions taken within the scope of their employment. In other words, you are free to go. From now on, even if the government loses that case, those decisions will only affect the United States government, but Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, Rice, etc. cannot ever be held personally liable. Blanket immunity. The guys who did the crimes, blanket immunity. The guy who revealed the crimes, Manning, 35 years. Welcome to American justice. How's that change working out for us? I won't look backwards unless it's to Manning, in which case I will bring the full force of the law on his ass. I will look backwards with a vengeance when it's Manning. Oh, my buddies Bush and Cheney. No, I'm sorry, I can't see it. Hear no evil, see no evil. No, blanket immunity. Look at the unbelievable disparity in the two cases. By the way, of course, the guys in the Apache helicopter video that I mentioned earlier got no punishment whatsoever. 11 civilians killed, 2 reporters killed, first responders shot at, children shot at, no punishment whatsoever. The guy who revealed that crime, 35 years.